Statement. I now give the floor to the representative of Israel.
Thank you, Mr. President. I would like to thank Mr. Abakarov for his briefing. It has been over 8 months since this Council passed Resolution 2803. It established a path forward for Gaza. The Board of Peace was created to set the stage for a new, non-radical leadership. Countries have contributed to the International Stabilization Force. Aid is getting in at levels not seen since 2023. But while Israel upholds its end of the deal, the main problem remains: Hamas has refused to disarm. But Hamas doesn't feel any pressure because the UN and this Council refuse to call them out, to weaken them, to pressure them. I quote Mr. Mladenov, the High Representative for Gaza on the Board of Peace. I quote, "Every week without agreement is paid for by the population of Gaza, not by those refusing to agree to it. While this Council has failed to pressure Hamas to accept the Board of Peace roadmap, the people of Gaza suffer. And not only that, this Council still refuses to designate Hamas as a terrorist organization." This month, we saw these problems in practice. The UN released a statement. It implied Hamas stormed a food distribution plant in Jabalia and that they assaulted 2 truck drivers at a World Food Program warehouse. The statement described, and I quote, "an increasingly dangerous pattern of intimidation, violence, and obstruction." Good morning, United Nations. This is what we have been telling you for years. But this statement, it was missing something. The statement mentions, quote, "armed personnel." It mentions de facto authorities. It says this group is placing humanitarian workers at risk and disrupting the delivery of life-saving assistance. I looked very carefully. I searched paragraph by paragraph for the name of this group. I could not find it. This statement is missing Hamas. They are not mentioned even once. And I ask myself, why? Why can't the UN call Hamas by name? Is the Secretary General telling you not to do that? Is the UN afraid? Afraid to say Hamas? Afraid of the governments that fund Hamas terrorism? This failure to call out terrorists by name and designate them must end now. For years we talked about Hamas's efforts to sabotage, prevent, and block humanitarian aid. But instead of taking action, this Council wastes its time repeating Hamas propaganda that Israel limits aid and starves civilians, that Israel closes border crossing, and that Israel does not comply with Resolution 2803 and Phase 1 of the 20-point plan. Just take a look at the new IPC report that examines the nutritional situation in Gaza. The report documents humanitarian improvements. Food insecurity is decreasing in every part of the Strip. But Israel, we still have reservations about this report. The report, unfortunately, must repeat the Hamas propaganda. It must reach the same alarmist conclusions that there is food crisis in Gaza. The report claims the aid getting into Gaza is not enough, but that is not true. It is a lie, because the projections are based on a flawed reporting process, incomplete sources of information, and anti-Israel bias. This month, an Israeli report showed the humanitarian situation in Gaza is stable. Over 600 aid trucks are entering Gaza per day, not 100 like the IPC report says, delivering over 1.8 million tons of food since the ceasefire began. This is above the World Food Programme's benchmark of 80,000 tons per month. And you know what? We can argue about which report is more accurate. But the most reliable indicator that food security is improving food prices have decreased by over 70%. No one can argue with that. That means more families can access and purchase food at reasonable rates. The medical situation is improving as well. 18,000 tons of medicine and medical equipment have entered Gaza since the ceasefire began, and hospital capacity is up 50% since September. Israel is not just making progress on aid. On Sunday, the Israeli Security Cabinet approved the initial entry of the International Stabilization Force into Gaza, so we can start a pilot project for reconstruction in Rafah, creating a humanitarian zone without Hamas control. Mr. President, despite the complicated situation, Israel has been facilitating humanitarian assistance into Gaza. I'm sure that, like every month, we will hear today remarks regarding the entrance of dual-use items into Gaza. Items that can be used for humanitarian purposes and for terrorist activities. We know what happens when these dual-use items get into Hamas's hands. Look at this picture. Hamas posted this video. You can find it online. It's a picture of the video. You can see Hamas terrorists digging up water pipes and turning them into rockets. And the absurd that they actually put that video, that they're taking the water pipes and actually transforming them into rockets. Still, many members of this council call for Israel to let all of these items in, without understanding the consequences or the reality on the ground. Our policy was not designed to make things harder for the people in Gaza. It is to prevent Hamas from rearming. We work with the UN, with NGOs to find alternatives, and we make exceptions when necessary. But as long as Hamas is in Gaza, there will be restrictions. Let's admit it. With Hamas in power, there is no future for Gaza. I now speak directly to Hamas. The ball is in your court. Either you disarm, either you give up power voluntarily, or Israel will do what is necessary. Mr. President, if we needed a reminder of Hamas's intentions, we were reminded this month. Hamas elected a new leader, Khalil al-Haya, as its next chairman. They elected one of the architects of October 7th as its new leader. He's an arch-terrorist. Do you remember him? He was in Doha on October 7th, front and center on video with Ismail Haniyeh, the former chairman of Hamas. He watched the terrorists invade Israel and kill innocent civilians. He was proud of it. He celebrated it. He cheered them on. After he was elected, the vice president of the moderate Palestinian Authority called to congratulate him. And look what happened on Friday. A terrorist in Samaria killed 2 Israelis and injured 3 more. They murdered Bnayahu Melet, a 32-year-old agriculture director, and they murdered Major Yuval Ezra, a 27-year-old IDF commander. Hamas not only praised the attack, they called for more violence. Mr. President, let us examine the irony in this council. Look at the list in front of you, at the country that will speak today. Some of these countries are hosting Hamas as we speak, both their military and political leadership. They are facilitating their banking infrastructure, and they are giving them the oxygen they need to survive. Today they will come here, will sit here, and they will call for a new future for Gaza. But at the same time, they embolden the terrorist organization that holds the people of Gaza hostage. So maybe you should ask them, when the representatives of Turkey will sit here later today, or Qatar, ask them if they allow Hamas banking to function in their countries, if they allow transfers to different banks in the world, before they tell us what should happen in Gaza. Mr. President, while Israel is fighting terrorism at home, New York is becoming the latest battlefield. Last week, Mayor Mamdani accused our Prime Minister of being a war criminal and accused our nation of committing genocide. Hours later, a Jewish man walked out of his synagogue on the Upper West Side. He was stabbed by a radical who yelled, "Allahu Akbar." When the mayor of New York City uses his microphone to demonize Israel, terrorists with weapons get the message. Some attack with guns, some attack with screwdrivers, some attack with lies. It is all the same because it all leads to the same result: violence against Jews. Mr. President, Israel understands the challenges of a democracy fighting against terrorism. Israel knows what we have to do if Hamas will not disarm. The question is, what will you do? This council should also take action. You should designate Hamas as a terrorist organization, and you should sanction Hamas so they cannot fund their crimes. This council should not be afraid to use those tools, but until now, this council has failed to fulfill its responsibilities, and not just with Hamas. You have not designated the Houthis. You have not designated Hezbollah. You have not designated the IRGC. Designate them now. You have the responsibility. You have the authority. Mr. President, to conclude, Israel has set a realistic path forward. We know what's going on in Gaza. Hamas is refusing to disarm. They are refusing to comply with the Board of Peace, and they are refusing to implement Resolution 2803. Hamas continues to choose smuggling over aid, violence over progress, and terror over peace. But now Hamas has lost the chance to choose, because they have shown the world that they don't want to change. Israel will ensure that Hamas will be disarmed. Israel will not wait forever. We understand that if we do not disarm Hamas, no one else will. It is our responsibility to ensure that Hamas can never again threaten the people of Israel, and we will fulfill that responsibility. Now this council has its work cut out for itself. It is time for action. Designate Hamas, sanction Hamas, and prevent Hamas terrorism once and for all. Thank you.